Alright, on to strike. I'm gonna start off. I think I'm gonna throw. I think this character. Is there anybody that's beneath? No, I think that these guys are all at least C and above. Um, you don't see a whole lot of these guys anymore. I think I think his big thing for me, and like one of the things I take advantage of a lot when I see this guy, and I see a lot of other people take advantage of it as well, is when he's shooting his big cannon. He sits still for so long. It's so easy to find where he is because the big cannon and the big red AOE just stays there for so long. His beta is decent. His invis is nice. If you can keep, if you're not acknowledged with that 45-minute long ability, you could probably make an argument for B or A, but most of the time I don't really see them. I don't think they're not really a problem anymore. So just gonna leave them there. Red Endeavor, same thing. His beta hits really hard. I actually, this is one of my most played heroes, excluding obviously Cementos. I think Red Endeavor, they changed his alpha, but his beta hits like a truck. You can cover up doorways with it. You can like spear. It goes across the map. I've hit a few Kobe spears. It's fantastic when you do that. I think at level 9 it almost always guard breaks. So after that it's just cookies and milk for you. Really, you just hawk him down because his mobility is pretty decent. Good character nonetheless. I think his Gamma is probably his worst ability, and it's a similar thing to his cannon. They just sit still and you're exposed. So it's one of those, you got to use that ability in a safe spot. Sometimes that can be tough to get off. Strike Dobby. I don't think he's very good anymore. I hated this character a long time ago. I felt like everything he did just absolutely nuked. I don't think he's very oppressive anymore. I think that he's almost like free pickings, to be honest with you. When I see one, I'm never like, Dobby, strike Dobby, watch out. You know, all I gotta do is just watch out for his. I mean, his alpha does some decent damage, but again, being a Cementos player, just block that and then, you know, handle him from there. But he's okay. You know, if he gets you, he gets you. You can definitely be cracked out of your mind with him. I think he's more of a positioning hero. I think. Who else? Who else do I want to put here? Who else do I want to put here? I'll put Strike Deku. You don't really see a whole lot of Strike Dekus anymore either. And there's really like a theme here. And it'll make sense. You don't see him a whole lot anymore. I think he's probably eating some nerves. I know on his release he was a menace. he looks like a fun like hero to main. I just have never brought myself to do it. But being able to jump up and slam down, his alpha does pretty good damage as well. Good one of those. You'll definitely know it. You'll know it. We're gonna move up to B tier here. No, I lied. We're gonna put Denki here. Without tuning, Denki's problem is he doesn't have any mobility. He's pretty slow. He has his Gamma, I think it is. It helps him get around just a little bit, but outside of that, he doesn't really have a whole lot. And I think in this game, with all these characters being so mobile, I think that's like a big downfall for him. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't do good damage. He does great damage. All these characters really can do great damage. I just think that in the position, in a real live game, it's much harder to handle business with him, I think, than some of these other characters. This is gonna be. I think this is gonna be the last C tier. Hot take. I don't think he's very good anymore. I never see him. I never see this character. When I do, it just feels like I usually kind of walk on him. They don't really have a whole. Maybe I just haven't ran against like a cracked one. But it just feels like his shield isn't very. I mean, it's useful, but his kit he's one of those characters that looks more fun than he is viable nowadays. I know he used to be annoying, but it doesn't feel like he has that same like aura to him now. I don't have like shit, you know. Shit. Now we're gonna throw Hawks up here in B tier. Some of these characters, I'm basing this based off of the players that have played against me on them, because some of these characters I haven't landed for myself. So I'm basing this off of my experience playing against a lot of these characters, rather than my experience of playing the characters and then dictating whether or not they're OP that way. So I think he's one of the characters I like. I like the way his combos look. He's got I think his beta is the one where he dashes and has like the cuts and all that stuff. I think that's a good ability. I think it's good AoE, good decent mobility for that as well. And then he gets the little uppercut that's majestic looking when he's spinning in a circle. And Hawks being Hawks already has insane movement. Yeah, not much to say about him. He does good damage, good combo potential, good mobility. If you're somebody that likes to play a character because they look cool, Hawks is a pretty cool looking character. I'm gonna go ahead and throw Kendo here. Again, I don't know too much about her abilities, but I can tell you from when I have fought her. I fought her obviously tons of times. I think she's way more popular than some of the characters beneath her. She can be a handful. I can't even lie. She can be a handful. So if you're a Kendo player, that's where I'm putting her. Now I think I'm gonna throw Bakugo here. My duo, he was initially a red strike Bakugo main. This character is ridiculous. I think he has the same. Honestly, I'm gonna put him up here with Deku. The reason I'm gonna put him up here with Deku is I think that hitscan characters have the potential to be the most dominant characters in the game. If you're not a good aimer, just like with any character, I'm gonna assume you're relatively decent. You're shooting you're playing with your eyes open. If you're hitting your shots with this guy and his gamma or his beta into his gamma after being poked with some alphas, his mobility is relatively decent. This character he's got a little bit of everything. His mobility isn't like, as Hawks or somebody or Endeavor even, like he doesn't have it like that necessarily, but his mobility is pretty good. And he does a lot of damage. He can shoot through walls. It's reduced damage, but he can still shoot through walls. If you have the drop on your opponent, then save yourself from getting hit. I think this works. I like that. Hot take here. I think this character's pretty good. I think he does a lot of damage. The reason he's B tier is because he can't do anything, literally nothing, against characters in the air. But his beta does so much damage. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a Shiggy get kills that he didn't mean to get. His gamma, I think it is, goes right to the health bar. Get that to 9 and you're doing like half or 3/4 of somebody's health bar. His alpha does a lot of damage, and they're all lingering AoEs, so they stay around for a while. I think he does really good. I think he struggles with mobility and attacking things in the air. But with tunings, you could probably move him up. Pretty easily. Shinzo, if you know, this character is annoying. Very CC based. I think he has like a similar effect as Aizawa. I think that I just don't like getting CC changed. That drives me nuts. I think his damage is pretty decent. I think after like 2 of his alphas, like you're almost like guard broken, and he goes into more combos and does the dazing and all that. Mobility is pretty decent. Good character, annoying character to play against. Yeah. Prezi Mike, this dude's a nuke. You don't see him anymore, probably because I think some of these characters don't get the play that they deserve based on like how they're not tuning, but like their how the devs have tuned their numbers. I think a lot of these characters don't get played because of literally how they look. Like they don't look like cool characters, so why play them type of thing. But I think this character does a lot of damage. If there were any hero, I think that if I were to gamble and say that I had a losing record against, I'm looking at the bottom now. If I had to say one, it would probably be Prezi Mike. I'd have to say Prezi Mike, honestly, just because the amount of times that, like, the damage that he does with speakers and all that. He just is an absolute menace if you get the hang of him. Nagant, S tier. She has her beta. I don't remember if it grounds, but it goes up through buildings. So if you use inside of the bottom of a building, it will go to the top. In that AoE that it is in. Her special action being able to headshot and does so much damage. So if you're able to catch somebody lacking, this is another aimer gamer hero. This is why I think why they're up here. I think she's better than both of these two. She did get a nerf. You can't necessarily quote unquote like quick scope with her now, but you can still. Somebody would make the argument that it's still a quick scope. So I would be surprised there. Mobility is fantastic. You can set up at the top of the map and absolutely just wreak havoc from above. Nobody ever looks up. So honestly, this character is fun and interactive to deal with. Todoroki, S tier as well, another beam character. This beam character, he also has an insane gamma that gives him the ability to stun. It does fantastic damage. He can use it for mobility to get around point A to point B. His beta does a lot of damage. His alpha does insane damage as well. The one thing I like about his alpha is that it's a beam alpha, hit scan alpha, so you will be rewarded for your performance. And I think that that's fantastic. I think any character that's rewarded for their ability to aim will sit at S tier. Because of that, they just do so much more damage than anybody else that can't do that. Like somebody could really make the argument Endeavor, but his alpha is a little bit different. It's not necessarily like hit scan. All right, so there's. What do we think? Do we like this? Yeah, there's the strike.